Welcome to Vision Radio 345. Today I have in the studio with me David Marori.
Mordy. Yeah.
Sorry, my brother, because
No,
I was wondering how I pronounce your name.
Powers, man.
But welcome to the studio. This is the guy who I spoke to some time ago, about a year ago, and we had a really serious discussion about young people because he himself works with young people. I'm going to get him to introduce himself and explain what he's been doing and where he is now. So yeah, I had this conversation with this guy, and we got into some deep conversation about young people and behaviors. So David, introduce yourself and tell our viewers.
Peace. My name is David. I also go by SBThaGreat because, I'm here to do great things. I'm here to change things. I'm here to be a visionary, a revolutionary.
Yeah.
And, like the young people will speak about, I also was doing what they was doing when I was younger until an unfortunate incident happened to me, which made me, reflect on where am I heading? What impact am I having? What's my legacy? How's my mum feeling about what I'm doing and what's going on and what do I actually want to do with myself? What's my vision?
Yeah.
And, from there, that's when, I joined the battle of also trying to help people and change people's realities and change people's perspectives. And that's where I'm at now, bro. That's it.
I think this guy's got a mission. He's on a mission, definitely on a mission, because right now, as we can see, we're in some serious times, especially with our young people. I'm trying to work out myself, to be exactly, I'm trying to work out myself what is going through our young people's minds, why they are out on the road, which is fine, but they're not going in the right places. They're ending up in the wrong places through certain circumstances that we see every day, gang culture, grooming, etc. So what we want to tackle is, we already know the problem. That's correct, Dave. We already know the problem, and people are always having these conversations like, what's the solution? What's the solution? The solution is the individual, but it's also our parents. But the things that need to change first is the mindset. What do you say about that?
Absolutely. I do believe the mindset's got to change. But also, I don't want us to, elevate the blame from the system in itself, because it's the system in itself that creates these individuals. It's the systems in itself that creates this lack of parents and a lack of role models in our communities. So we can't always put the blame on the victims, because these young people are victims, bro. We're victims of the system. The system in itself is the problem. Right. And until we tackle that system, there will just be a new generation of the same old problems, because I'm sure this is the same old issues that was going on back in the day. I don't know. I'm only 27 years old, so I'm sure back in the days there's several problems.
Okay, that's a good point. But let's just take it from how we were as a community, which is slightly different.
Yeah.
So when we was growing up in the community, you could easily go to your friend's house, or your parent had relatives in another area. You could easily go over there, and there was no issue. The problem that we had, that because of the racism was so high at that time, we were walking down certain places, and through that interaction with other people, there was a problem caused, right? However, when we're walking in another area, you could go there freely and see another man over there, same race as you, etc., and just say, well, go on, everything good. Now, you're living in your own borough, and you can't even move from one street
to the
next. So this is what we're talking about. When we're talking about how it used to be, that's how it used to be. And plus, there wasn't any distractions per se. And I get that. But moving forward, you can see where we are now. So there's a lot of deterioration in the way the community used to be in this kind of broken down. And that's what we're now trying to bring back.
The community.
We're trying to bring them back to where we're supposed to be. Okay, it's a different time. We've got phones, etc. I get that. But there's no balance. There's no balance.
I actually see where you're coming from. I do, but I'm just letting you know that these times that we're living in is obviously, it's high in technology, and we're now seeing it. Like, it's literally first-hand media, as opposed to like before, where you got to wait for it to hit the newspapers or whatever it is that was going on back in the day. Now it's first-hand. Now it happens 5 minutes ago, and now you're seeing it on your phone straight away.
Wow.
But still, I'm going to stand on the point of, if you want that community factor back, the system has to change. And I'm not even saying like the big system, just even the community system. How do us adults, why do we speak to these young people? Do we just look down on them and be like, oh, you Gen Z people, we're going to push you to the side? Or do we bring them in and speak to them like, what are you doing, young man? What are you doing, young woman? Where are you heading? Where's your vision?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm trying to say? That even that system in itself has to change. Before we even get to the big system, it's got to be, okay, the community system has to also change as well.
Yes. That's a good point. And I do think that because the way things are now, David, we're tackling the main thing I think we're tackling now is the behaviour, and the attitude towards each other, and we're going to the heart of the matter here, and I think that's what needs to be dealt with, because a lot of hurting people walking around, a lot of people with a lot of anger, trauma. I get that, and everybody goes through things in life, but it's what are we doing to help themselves to move forward, and how we're doing that collectively, because it affects everybody. You know, there's grown people out there and they're still carrying luggage from 1913.
Bro.
You know them ones, you know?
Dark, man, I'm telling you.
You know them ones. But for me, it's the heart in it. It's to forgive, because you know you get them situations. I don't know about for you, but there's some situations when people borrow something and they never bring it back, and it's like 5 years later they're not bringing it back. One big argument.
Must have got a sugar, you know.
Yeah, it could have been anything.
Borrow sugar from you 10 years ago.
Pot cover. You know what I mean? One frying pan.
I swear to God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's those kind of things. But again, they hang on to those things. And when we release ourselves from these things, it takes a lot, because it's dealing with the heart.
Yeah.
And then we're dealing with other things on top of that.
Yeah.
And it's accepting and then releasing. And that's prayer,
absolutely. You see what you're talking about right now, about the healing?
Yes.
Brother, no one teaches us how to actually go through that healing journey, because that's so important. It's very important what you're talking about right now, because you're right. There's a lot of us walking around with
ticking time
baggages, waiting or just itching to explode on someone, because you know misery loves company. But the thing is, though, you see, like going introspective on yourself, going internal on yourself is the hardest thing. I think one of the old school philosophers said a quote: "What's the most important thing?" He said, "Know thyself." And a lot of us don't know ourselves.
Yes.
And we don't know ourselves because we don't take time to sit with ourselves. Actually sit down and just
right.
go internal. Why do I behave like this? Why do I think like this? Why is this my perspective? Why is this my trauma? Where did this trauma come from? Is it my trauma, or is it a generational trauma? Is it trauma that I got from my mum? Because there's something called epigenetics. Like if your mum gives birth to you and you come from inside of your mother, you naturally have your mum's traumas inside of you, because you grow within your mother.
That's right. And
so and then if your mother grows inside her mother, she's got traumas from her mother.
Yeah.
And back, because it's epigenetics. So you got to be the generational curse breaker. You got to be the black sheep of your family and be like, you know what, I've had enough of this, because if not, you'll pass the trauma on to your offspring. Yeah. You will. It is just scientific.
And this is why prayer is important.
Prayer is absolutely important.
We have to pray, because we're dealing with different levels here. We're dealing with different realms.
But it's dark times right now, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Times. But we're going to go back to that conversation that we're addressing regarding the young people now. Somebody sent me this post, and I wanted to listen to this carefully. Chris Preedy, again. OB, 100%. Brother, I love you, man, because you is a soldier out there, man. You.
Powers, Chris.
Yeah, man. Chris, big up, man. But listen to what he had to say. This is the 6 weeks holiday starting. Listen to what he had to say.
How we doing, guys? Myself, Chris Preedy, OBE, hitting you with a quick one. Real talk, true seasons. Don't worry, I'll wait. Help me make it make sense. Don't worry, I'll wait. This is going to be our everyday occurrence. 6 weeks holidays is here. Just in case none of you lot don't know that by now. You've got this young man that came out of a cab with a couple of friends, and we can all sit there and say, you know what, this is bad, this happened on our streets. But this is a warning to some of you young kids now. If you want to be gangster, you want to be driller, this is what's going to come your way. You see my man jump out the car like, yeah, it's them, man. And then when them man come back up on you now, you're trying to jump back into the cab. You're scared, you're saying, boss man, drive. Man, them are stabbing you constantly. Multiply. To a point, I don't know if the guy passed away and everything, but I definitely know he was stabbed many of times. All because of what? Because you were repping a block. All because of what you decided, but you're going to be gangsters for what? You don't even own your area, you don't even own your estate, and most of you man them know each other anyway. Don't worry, I'll wait. You're holding on to other people's issues in the sense of certain other elders that are not even about no more, washed up elders that was running around once upon a time just like you, thinking you're gangster, to only now be put in prison or if not lose your life. For what, big man?
You know, I got to stop it there, because it's a serious piece of statement that he made there. David, what is exactly your take on that? Because
big up Chris on that one now, because he's speaking nothing but facts, man. He's speaking that. A lot of these problems going on, I couldn't even tell you where the problem started from.
Wow.
It probably started in the 80s from some next man probably arguing with the next man's guy, and all of a sudden that's areas beef in the next area. Ain't got nothing to do with me. That's one. Two, if you're talking about the issue, he's talking about the cab issue, or the brother getting stabbed up in the cabbie. You can see the fear in his face.
Yeah.
You can see how scared he was. And this is the thing. Even when I was on the roads, it's a persona. We build this persona because we want to protect the inner child. Again, it goes down to the traumas and wanting to fit in. You know, as young boys, we want to fit into a crew. We want to fit into a quote unquote gang. So to fit into this gang, you create a persona. So when I was younger, I created this persona, this angry, this you know, bravado, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even the real me. Really and truly, I come from a good home. I was born.
Okay, so hold it there. Let's just continue here. So it comes from a good home. So now we can look at that a bit later on, but just listen to the rest of this clip.
He's speaking facts, Chris, man. Keep going.
You're asking, you're begging the cameraman to drive because you know your life is flashing like that. It gets real. It's not Call of Duty anymore. It's not fun anymore. You can't press rewind and go back. But it's up to us parents now to read into this and say, raw, like I said, it's our children involved in certain criminal activities and stop being in denial. You got these young boys running around with big boy zombies. And like I said, when it comes knocking on your door, you're not going to want the smoke. When prison comes knocking on your door, you're not going to want the smoke. So even them young boys that was dropping up, man, and you lot feel like you're caught catching bodies. Yeah, when you catch 25 to life, this is when you lot are all balling. This is when you lot are all snitching. This is when you lot don't want that side of the game. But we keep glorifying it. And this has been now what? 2 deaths just the other day in the sense of young boy being stabbed. Yeah? To death. Shot. Guy running around with a knife. Now we've got this incident where this young man's inside a car getting stabbed up. And the 6 weeks holidays has just started. Check in. Do you know where your kids are? And I know we can sit there and keep having these conversations. And I want to sit there and keep doing these videos. Well, regardless whether you like it or not, this is the reality. Some of you parents need to wake up. Some of you parents are sitting there, not my child, your child is the baddest one. Your child is out there joking, doing some disgusting demon stuff. And some of you parents are in denial because some of your parents are not even reading into some of the kids that are being groomed, that are being manipulated. That they're not about this life, but because you're not around, because you're not giving them no time, because you're not giving them no stabilization, because you're running around trying to get likes and shares, they're going and chasing someone else. They call each other bruv for a reason. They call each other cuz for a reason. They call each other family for a reason.
Again, there's some great points he put it out there where they're talking about they call their brethren's family for a reason. But the thing is, what reason? Because you call them family, are they actually doing anything that's going to benefit you as an individual? I don't get that. Because my interpretation of family, that's just me, you know, you're around people who love you and people are going to direct you. If the people in there they're linking with are calling them family and they're doing their scondogery and nonsense, how does that make any sense? David, as we said just before we started the clip again, you said you come from a great home. And I get that. So tell us a bit about that.
I was born in Nigeria. You know, I come over when I was about 10 years old. You know, so naturally, I was intelligent. I still am intelligent. You know, growing up in Nigeria, the education system is more. You know, you get beaten if you get questions wrong. So it's more, you know, you get flogged. I remember I had to buy my own cane to take to the teacher for the teacher to use that cane that I used my money to buy to beat me with it.
That's another podcast.
I'm just catching you into what I'm saying. When I've come over to the country now, I'm in year 5. Realistically, educational wise, I'm in year 7. But age wise, they put me back to year 5. So you know what that meant then is, I'll finish the work quickly, and now I've distracted the class because now they're saying I've got ADHD, but I don't have ADHD. I'm just intelligent. I've done the work quickly. So then moving on, then they kicked me out of school when I was in year 7, and they put me in the Peru. Now in the Peru, I'm a naughty kid, but now in the Peru, I'm with bad gangsters. So naturally, you become a product of your environment, and I start hanging around them man there, and then now I become a bad youth. Now I'm walking around with certain things and doing certain things and breaking into certain homes, and now I'm part of that. And that, quote unquote, like Chris said, family. Now I'm calling them bruv, fam, do. Now that's who I am now. That's the persona now. In order to be able to protect myself in this jungle, in this place that I'm in this Peru, as you know, Perus are. It's just the level below prison. It's a prison it's a school to prison pipeline. So to protect yourself in this environment, you create this bravado, you create this ego, you create this persona. And the thing with this persona is you start to believe it's you. You start to believe this is who I am.
Wow, what a deception.
Yeah, you're deceiving yourself. Yeah, you're deceiving
it's
you.
A spiritual deception.
But you know, the thing is that I would understand is if you create the ego, you can kill the ego. You can kill the ego and create a whole new ego. It's birth, death, and rebirth. It's a cycle that you can do as many times as you want. I'm going for an ego rebuild right now. I'm going for an ego death now. I'm creating a new ego, because now this new ego that I'm doing is to do God's bidding. The other ego was to do the devil's work. I was doing the demon's work, the devil's work.
So if you're also, that means the ego's out. You're doing God's work.
I'm using my new ego to do God's work.
Yeah, but but now you're using you as a person, the right person to do the work what you need to do.
Yeah, when I say the ego, I mean this physical avatar, this physical being. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the God is within us, and you got both God and the devil within you. Just depends what you want to use it. It depends what you want to tap into. It's your choice. It's your free will. So at that time, a lot of these young people now are doing the devil's bidding, bro. They're doing the demon time, and let me walk around with zombie knives and wall to wall. You know what I'm trying to say? Wall to wall. So it's like. So when you transcend that and you grow and you're like, okay, cool, let me recreate my ego. Let me change myself. Okay, now what do I want to do? For me, for example, is I want to join the fight. I want to, change people's lives. Now I'm using it to expand the universe. I'm using it to expand God's creation. Now I'm building people up. Now I'm feeding people's mental. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at now. Anyway, when I say I come from a good home, then I went down the hill to find myself again. Now I found myself, I'm finding myself now. I'm knowing myself now.
And life's a journey.
Life's a journey, bro. It's a marathon.
That's what it is, and it's about people who are around you are going to elevate you and not condemn you or put you in a situation where you don't want to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens because of your environment and what's around you. But the thing that's added now is the fact that there's so much communication which is so direct. This is what's flooding a lot of these youths their minds. So now, the time when they're supposed to be growing up in a certain pace, I get that we're in a very fast pace. It's getting filled. The minds are getting filled so early. I call it like the hard drive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So do I. That's funny.
Once the you're not even at a man age or a woman age, and your hard drive is full up already, but it's infected.
You got to declutter it, man. You got to go within you. You have to sit with yourself. We're scared of sitting with ourselves. We're scared of what answer is going to come up.
Yeah.
But you have to go into that dark place. You have to face yourself.
Those fears.
You have to.
But you can't do it on your own. You need people around you who experienced people who are godly, and people who got a direction for you and want to have the best from you genuinely. Because that's what it's about. Because when all is said and done, listen, we ain't even started yet because I want to go into some other things. All these things that people are running after, they don't make no sense. They're nice. But when it comes to human being and building relationships and talking to people, like we said, community, that's where we need to be.
I agree with you.
And once we get to that, all this energy these guys are using, imagine if they just put it in
something else.
In the right place. I'm going to go back to to that piece of that clip that Chris Petty was talking about.
But what do? We sit there and complain. We sit there and complain. But no one don't want to stand up. No one don't want to socially be a snitch. Because we all know who's doing it. It's your brother, it's your cousin, it's your friend. We all know who's doing it, but no one don't want to say, nah, let's just keep it real. We're the ones that's breaking down our community by selling drugs, community activities, and breaking down our community to a point where we're not able even to live in there because no one doesn't want to live there. But then we complain about it, but we don't want to do nothing about it. We see the other kids walking around with knives and carrying guns and all the rest of it, and we think, oh, not my child, I'm just going to close my door. You close your door, then one day your child gets robbed, your child gets stabbed. The police are not doing nothing about it, to a point the police are just running around, brutaling us and beating us up anyway. So the whole solution is, what are you doing? At least just, what are you doing about your child? Do you know where your child is? This week, 6 holidays, do you know where your child is? Do you know where your niece is? Do you know where your nephew is? Do you know where your brother is? Let's just start there. I'm trying to run around and help everybody, but let's just start there. Do you know where your child is? Keep them safe this 6 weeks holidays. It's real. What's you guys' thoughts? Comment below.
Yeah. As you can hear that come from TikTok, but I'll tell you something. It could have TikTok till it tick-tock, tock. I don't business, brethren. I'm listening to what the guy's saying.
Facts.
You understand? Facts. I'm listening to what Chris Preedy, OBE, is saying. The man's talking sense. You understand?
He says a lot of facts there, bro.
Yeah,
facts there.
I was round a youth centre just yesterday. Went to do a little visit. Hoping to do some work down there, and it was nice to see them inside the youth centre, just doing what they're doing in a safe space and out on the street. Because, like Chris mentioned in the clip, 6 weeks holiday, he's seeing a bloodbath. So, brethren, come off for the road, you, and go and youth centre. Some of them are there. There's organisation. If you play football, go play some football. Wasting your time. I don't get it. So, like I said, try and make it make sense. And as I said, it's not an easy thing to talk about because it's very complex. If you're an individual that's all you knew. Because that all you knew is some thick layers.
It's thick, bro.
I get it.
We make it sound like easy. It's not. You know what?
No.
It's not easy. You know, like
No.
you see, as a young, you know, actually, because I can only speak for my demographic. As a young black boy growing up in a certain environment,
Yeah.
not having a father figure or a positive role model to look at in your home.
Yes.
You go look for it outside. Because, you know, Mumsy tries.
Yeah.
But Mumsy's a queen and she can't teach me how to be a king.
100%.
I'm a prince. I need a king to be able to emulate to order to be a king. So if I can't find a king inside, I'll go outside to look for the king. So a lot of the people, the oldest, quote unquote, that I'm looking up to, I think they're adults and I think they're kings because they got the flashy cars and the money and the girls and the cars and whatever it is that they got that I'm aspiring to become. I start looking at that. Ooh, as a young prince, I'm easy to mold. So I'm looking at these oldest. You know, he's a king. I want to be like him. Without realizing that he's just a grown boy. He's just an adult boy.
I tell you what he is. You know, you have the king,
Yeah,
the queen.
Yeah.
Who's the one on the side?
The courtier, whatever
the Joker.
The Joker, yeah, yeah. But I'm not
So
there
you got the
mentally.
Joker, not the king.
Yeah, but I'm looking at him like, you know, he's an adult, but realistically, he's not an adult. He's just a grown boy. He's just a boy. You know what I'm trying to say? So anyway, so as I was saying, in order for you to then change, you need to go look for new information, new things to feed your mind with. So you stop looking out there like, oh, no, really and truly, he's lost as well. You're following someone that's lost. Yeah, but he's got this persona like he's got it made, but he ain't got it made. He's lost. He's in a dark place as you. You're both in a dark space. So you got, you know, the blind leading the blind. So essentially what I'm saying there, is for me, what I've done is I went and looked at masculine men. I started watching them. I'm not with them in the physical like this, but I'm watching them on social media. I'm watching them on YouTube. I'm watching podcasts, different sort of things that's feeding my mind new information. And naturally, when you feed your mind new information, you start to see the world differently because you start to think differently. Yes. So I always say to people, my saying is think different. When you think different, your perspective changes. And when your perspective change, you look at the world differently. And when you look at the world differently, your actions change because you're like, right, I don't even need that, you know, that's instant gratification. Yes. God works on delayed gratification. When you're with, when I'm saying God, I'm not meaning, you know, God means go to church. No, I mean within you. You've gone within you. You know there's a God inside of you. And you know, that means delayed gratification. You start to walk differently. Your chest is up. Now you feel like a man. You feel masculine. Yeah. You feel feminine at the same time because it's all both the same energy. You start walking differently. When you're walking differently, bro, you just start to see the things, you know, different sort of results in your life. So yes, it's as easy as saying go kick a ball or leave the knives down. Bro, you were telling them to leave the knife down and leave the money behind. But what are we giving them then? Because you know they want they want wealth.
No,
you know what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
you know what I'm trying to say. Like, so, what are we giving them in replacement for what we're telling them to drop down? Sir,
okay. Let me just play you something. Right, another clip. Check out this. This is what somebody was saying regarding. You said what we're giving them. So let's have a look at the stuff that they're running after.
We cannot be black and proud and niggas too. White folks are planning for 3 generations, and we're planning for Saturday night. The goal for us is to win, not to look like we're winning. I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it. You just looking like you winning. You ain't winning. Louis Vuitton is winning. Nike's winning. Armani is winning. Gucci's winning. It is interesting to me that the rich stay rich by pretending to be poor, and the poor stay poor by pretending to be rich. And if we do not fix this level of financial illiteracy, lots of reasons why we are at the bottom of every single economic statistic that matters.
Okay, so
he's talking about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you know when we're talking. You understand? We're breaking things down. We're not here to condemn or lash out on people. Just trying to get you to understand why we're at this point now. Well, not with just behavior, but in terms of us building a future. And we need to change the minds in terms. I'm not saying because there are some people out there who are actually entrepreneurs, and hats off to them. They're doing really well. But we need more of that. And if we're going to get more of that, it needs to come from the generation coming up now so they can build for later on. But this issue that we're actually talking about is where it starts from, changing this cycle, this mindset and cycle. So what do you have to say on the point
It's interesting what he's talking about, because just recently I was studying, I was learning something which led me to watching this video, How to Sell to a Negro. And that video, that is about 16 minutes long. Anyone can go and watch it on YouTube. It is from back in the day when the black family started to, have more wealth coming into the household. So now the system, wherever the system is to use, started to think, okay, so they're getting more money into the household. How can we extract that money from them so they don't use that money to do good? So they don't use that money to build themselves up. So they don't use that money to feed their communities and whatnot. So it's like, okay, how can we take that money that's getting into their pocket? How do we take it out? So now that clip there is what this guy's talking about. It's bang on. It's about, you're looking at these flashy things, but really and truly, that flashy thing is keeping you in a slave mindset. Because you're talking about mindset, right?
Absolutely.
There's two types of mindset. You either go ownership mindset or you go a slave mindset. And when you keep going out to buy these things and consumerisms and, I want that Louis Vuitton bag, I want this, all you're doing is just putting your money out. You're just throwing your money away. And, there's a quote that says, that a dollar doesn't really circulate in the black community as much as it does in other communities. And that's because we get our money and we're giving it to the other community straight away.
Yeah.
So you're doing all this hard work. You're on the street selling drugs and whatever. You're risking your life to then get that money and just giving it away, rather than, okay, I'm risking my life for certain things, means to an end. I make the money, I reinvest that money into something else. Now I've got other avenues and other incomes coming in. I can leave that lifestyle behind. But if you're always chasing something, you're always going to be in the streets. Because you'll never have enough Louis bag. You'll never have enough Louis shoes. You'll never go on enough holidays because you keep seeking that instant gratification. Because you're not investing on your money. You're not doing anything positive with your money.
And the thing as well, I call those type of guys unqualified businessmen because they're out there thinking they're doing business. So how does your business end up like that, where you're not here no more, or you're doing 25 years? That wasn't a good business, was it? And then you still have the cheek to go and try and continue it when you're inside where you are. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You're risking your life for nothing. Because at least if you're risking your life, the means to the end should be leaving the game behind, leaving the hood behind, helping your mum come out of the hood, because your mum's still struggling. It doesn't really make sense. You've got £3,000 bag and £2,000 shoes, but mum's is still living in cancer house, struggling to pay bills and bring groceries in. That's not really manly. That's not masculine. See, the type of people you got, like Tupac and Biggie were 25 years old when they died. 25 years old. Look at the things they accomplished. Look at the legacy they left behind. Look, these are the type of things I'm looking at. I'm 27. I'm thinking about legacy. I'm thinking about impact. I'm thinking about generational wealth. Because the consumerism is generational curses. It's a curse that has been inflicted into our mindset that now we keep passing on from generation to generation to generation, and we're not thinking about building generational wealth.
Okay, so that's a great point. But I'm just going to pick up on something you said about the Biggie and Tupac. Now, whether they left the legacy or not, that's another thing to be talked about. I think that's going to be another podcast, because we're going to talk about music at some point. Because I love my music.
I love my music too, bro.
And so that's a different thing. But you know what? I'm glad you said that, because that is going to be, as I said, part of one of our podcasts we're going to probably do in the future. But I'm going to tell you something. The last thing I'm going to say, because we're going to hold it there, because we need to do a part 2, because this is interesting in terms of where we're going with this. And what we're going to leave you with is that, are we going to leave a legacy for these next generation of young people? That's what we want to do. We want to know and find out what we're going to do to put those things into place. What's the last thing you want to say on this?
There's a quote by John D. Rockefeller. He said, "I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers." What that means is, I want a nation of slaves, not a nation of owners. So we've got to start thinking about, what is this agenda that they've created for us? And if it's the agenda they've created for us is to enslave us and oppress us and oppress your mind, because you're not oppressed physically anymore. There's no physical chains on us anymore. It's a physical chain on our minds, a mental chain. It's a mental blockage that you feel like you have to keep going in the program that you've been set for. Yeah, cool. Yeah, the program is the program. You grew up in the same program that I grew up in, and your father probably grew up in the same program that his father grew up in. At some point, though, you have to be like, okay, my mum went through that. She's still living in the same environment. Her mum probably did the same thing. She's still living in the same environment. I want different for myself, and I want different for my future. I don't want the same as my ancestors went through. I want something different. So if you want something different, then you need to change the way you think, and you need to think differently. When you start thinking differently, your perspective is going to change naturally. And when your perspective changes, you're going to want different things, and you're going to start moving differently, because you won't be so satisfied with this nonsense, this whatever it is that you got right now. This program is nonsense, bro. And I'm striving for that. I'm striving for generational wealth, and I've got a company called Nation of Thinkers to counteract what my man said about the nation of workers. So now my whole ethos is making people think differently. I want a nation of thinkers, a nation of owners, ownership. And doesn't mean owning whatever, it just means owning your life, not moving with the program that's been predetermined for you. That only leads to jail or prison.
Absolutely. Thank you, David, so much for coming in. You know, wow, we could be here for a very long time, but you know, this is really nice to have you in the studio today talking about the issues that we talked about a year ago. And I'm looking forward to doing the next one with you. So this is it from Vision Radio 345. Do remember you can go onto our website, www.visionradio345.co.uk, and check out some stuff on there. You can go to our YouTube channel with some music on there and some bits and pieces. We've got some other talk shows and other podcasts. So keep it locked, and we'll see you another time.
Facts. You can find me on TikTok or Instagram as I am SBThaGreat. And yeah, I'll be talking some more things on there as well. Just like Chris is doing, I'll be continuing to fight as well. Peace.
Big shout out to Chris Preedy, 100%. Love you, my brother. Cool.
Vision Radio 345. The station to be tuned in. Keep it locked. Keep it locked. Keep it locked.
Connecting with your community. Vision Radio 345.